You can never get me to care about what happens to men that think that they can buy consent from women. I don't care if you think that sex work is liberating, blah, 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 blah. They don't care about that. They just want access to women's bodies. They don't care if she's doing it out of survival. They don't care if she's getting pimped out. They don't care. You're not concerned with the fact that she would not be sleeping with you if she did not need the money. So, I don't care. When she goes chop, 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 I go clap, clap, clap. You deserve to be robbed. You deserve to get beat up. You deserve whatever happens to you when you think that a human being can be bought. Their consent can be bought. If you truly care about female liberation, you would not be contributing to the supply and demand system of women's bodies. And yes, there are some women that generally just love what they do, whatever. Under the patriarchy, it gets very fuzzy with what is a free choice and what's just influenced by the patriarchy. You can kind of feel like because at least if they're going to use you for your body, you're getting money out of it, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, you're still giving men access to your body that you would not otherwise want them to have access to. But anyway, it's a much larger conversation, but my point is, whatever happens to you when you are buying consent, you deserve it. You deserve it, and I will never care. You get poked the fuck up, I don't care. I don't care. When you are paying for that consent, that removes all ability to say no and to truly give consent. Once you pay for it, once you're like, this is a job, this is a service that I'm paying for, that removes the ability to say, oh no, I don't want to do that, or I'm not comfortable with that, or can you please stop? Because you paid for it, so now they have to make sure that you get your money's worth, whether they're comfortable or not. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of exploitation that goes into it. And if you don't care about that, I don't care about what happens to you. Lady Eileen, I'm going to need more versions of her.
Yeah, what she said and more. Because I do not understand how you can buy a woman, be content with that, and then still go on with your life. We still understand that there's human trafficking, right? You still know that there's people who take advantage of women, right? Or maybe that does not affect you. But you know someone that that's involved in purchasing women and does not feel any remorse about that. You don't know where these women come from. All you know is that as long as they are accessible for me and my pleasure, then it's okay. But it never matters to you as a man, right? We know a lot of these places that have access to these women, and then we know that men will rather say, it's much better if I access a prostitute because it's better that way. Not to mention that they encounter violence too. A man can just exploit them for their own pleasure, and then after done exploiting them is pew pew pew, and then nothing happens because you'll be stigmatized by the fact of why are you selling your body? Why are you doing this? By the very same people who want the very same thing from these women. So I support that and more. You should not be involved in any kind of participation when it comes to this. It's serious. Because what happens is that people do not realize that it can be your sister, it can be your niece, nephew, it can be any one of your family, your daughter, your sister, it can be your cousin. And it's the fact that it's when it start happening to one of your own, that is when people should start to care. How about we care now? We should care now. We should engage in this conversation now, not because our family members are involved in it, because we should protect the women from such men. And if you feel like you're part of these men, then probably I am talking to you.
I would like to see these studies too, because in the places where it's been decriminalized and it's legal, 60% of the women have been physically assaulted, 40% have suffered sexual violence, 40% were coerced into the commercial sex trade. I guess the idea is that when it's illegal, women are powerless to reporting the crimes against them, and if we bring it out of the shadows, women will be fine. But obviously, that is not the result. And a lot of sex workers have pointed out that there is hypocrisy in the very same people that are trying to raise awareness about sexual abuse and harassment and exploitation through things like the Me Too movement are trying to make sexual violence, harassment, and dehumanization, which cannot be divorced from prostitution, formally protected under our laws. The right way to fix this or to go about it, should be decriminalizing it for the women that are going into it and preventing them from getting arrested and charged and getting convictions that stop them from having a life afterwards. But it should still be a serious crime to pimp someone out or to pay for sex. And you guys are always saying, and of course in the comments people have been saying you need to listen to sex workers and all that stuff. And the thing is, I listen, and I don't just listen to the ones that enjoy it or find it empowering and stuff. I listen to the ones that talk about how being in the porn industry, they will get a brief for what a scene is going to be, and then they'll go there and the terms of it will change and it will be more violent than they intended for it to be, and how they're coerced and manipulated into staying there. I listen to the ones that become addicted to drugs in order to cope with being in the industry, that force smiles so that no one thinks anything is wrong, that go on so many different types of drugs so that they don't have to face the reality of what they're dealing with. I listen to that. I listen to the stories of the women that have died. I listen to all of it because it matters to me. The ones that matter to you shouldn't be the ones just that enjoy it. It should be everyone collectively. You should want protection for all of them. You should want this industry that relies on the exploitation of women to not continue to thrive. Because yes, there are some sex workers that love what they do and whatever, it's like utopia for them. But for the majority, that is not the case. And I don't think that the few that enjoy it should override the people that are genuinely trapped in the system and are being constantly abused and end up offing themselves as a result. But you guys don't care about those people's stories. You care about the people whose stories make you feel good about beating your meat, to videos that you don't know how consensual they were. You don't know if it's revenge porn. You don't know if she was high out of her fucking mind while it was being filmed. You don't know if they changed the terms when she got on set and she was still coerced into continuing the scene. You don't care about those things. You don't care about the fact that most of these things are hard to differentiate from actual cases of abuse and acting. But these women are actually being hurt. And if you actually listen to the women who tell their stories after they're out of the industry, then you would know that. But you only care about the ones that affirm you're right, or you're, that make you feel good about the fact that you beat your meat for hours and hours to stuff that you don't even know, like, the context behind. And that goes for other women too, because I know y'all be downstairs DJing to that content too, but obviously, yeah. But yeah, this is something that I've done extensive reading about, extensive research, because I truly value and care about women and girls, and I want to live in a world where one day we are not put in these positions and we are able to truly make choices and not make choices that lead to men having more access to us when that's not what we want. We will never achieve collective liberation for every woman everywhere, every woman, every girl, we will never achieve that if you guys are constantly finding ways to reaffirm the patriarchy but trying to make it progressive. Just because you find a way to enjoy the cage that you're in does not mean that you shouldn't try to get out of the cage to begin with. Just because you tell yourself, oh, this thing that the patriarchy wants me to do already is empowering, it doesn't make it empowering. It doesn't mean that you suddenly have power. And I often think about this tweet: anything said to be empowering for women turns out to be what us blokes wanted them to do anyway. Parading around in sexy outfits, empowering. Having sex with us, empowering. Getting up early to make my breakfast, empowering. I can't believe that scam is still working. Like, we gotta think. We gotta really, really think. Really have to question what our idea of power is and stop thinking that everything that a woman does can be a feminist act. Like, I find it frustrating that you guys would rather try to find ways to make patriarchal choices seem empowering rather than go against that and try to find ways and fight for ways for us to actually have genuine power. But yeah, I want to make it abundantly clear that I am not against sex workers. I am against the industry. There are far too many women and girls that face abuse in the industry versus the women that are able to freely move through it and leave it when they want to and things like that. They matter too, not just the ones that make you feel good about enjoying what they do.
I also feel like it is our responsibility to make conscious decisions. But again, an addiction is far way deeper than you making a conscious decision, because some of us are deep within our trenches of pain to actually think critically, analyze the situation, myself included.